What up? Mic check. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 3. All right. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I just had to get everything started, get everything ready. We're broadcasting from YouTube and Rumble. So I just wanted to make sure we got all the ducks in the row. Welcome everybody. What's up? We got a lot of people already in the building. Janee, what's up? Appreciate you sharing. Yep, trust me, we about to go in. Appreciate you being here. Sherry Horton, I see you. Appreciate you. Mary A, appreciate you. Salute Beyond Belief with Sarah Jane. Welcome. Alexis Jackson, what's up? Jag will be here in a second. Myrna, see you. Carla as well. Hey, and Chanel, Yvonne, Loopy, Sherelle. This is Jeraricas? Okay, I don't know. My bad. If I butcher your name, I just butcher your name. Jag will be here. I'm just saying salutations, salute to everybody. To you as well, mighty God we serve, and Nicole Jonas. Miss Zinzin, what's up? And yeah, we're just doing everything from 2 platforms, YouTube and Rumble. So don't forget, if you are on YouTube, you could get over to Rumble, rumble.com/Jaguar Wright. Yeah, we got an interesting situation. Rare Sense, I see you on Rumble. What's up? Rare Sense, I see you. Appreciate you. Like I said, on Rumble at Jaguar Wright. Plain and simple. It's real easy. And I'll say it like this. And I don't want to, talk too much business, the YouTube, business or whatever. But there's a bunch of YouTubers that are being bought out. If people don't understand, if you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, there's a bunch of YouTubers who are being bought out, and not bought out in a traditional sense. What's going on is you got this private equity company that goes around and they pretty much will acquire channels. And this is just it's almost like why Live Nation went through what it went through when dealing with the monopoly. Y'all know how it is with Live Nation and things being monopolized. Oh, my bad. I didn't know if you was ready or not. My bad. But y'all know Live Nation is pretty much being sued, and they lost because they pretty much monopolized on most live events, period. They didn't give other companies an opportunity to even compete with them. So with this YouTube situation, there's a few private equity things going on with, certain content creators. And it looks like, to me, it's like they're moving in that direction. They're trying to get a lot of these content creators to pretty much speak the same language, talk the same talking points. This is where social media is going. Social media is more influential on the masses than regular media now. So therefore, they got to come in and put the clamp down and be able to silence certain voices. So that's why I'm mentioning Rumble. Get on over to Rumble and support over there, become a follower there, because we'll probably do a lot more topics like this over there, simply because this private equity that's going around buying up the voices on YouTube, the powerful voices on YouTube. We're not one of them. It's a big network and we ain't part of it. Just know that. But get on over to Rumble as well, because this is what we're doing. Jag's on TikTok too, Ms. Zinzin. So, but they're doing everything over there too. They're doing a whole lot. Barbara J, I see you. What's up? Appreciate you. And yeah, we got Jag in the building. I don't know if you're ready. I see you're up. What's up?
don't mind me. I got a handful of berries in my mouth. You know how they be complaining about people smacking online, so I was trying to be polite while you were giving everybody the 1 2 1 2.
That's what's up. Well, no, it's all good. Do your thing. I know it's that time, so you can get busy and do what you got to do. But yeah, saw Jaguar on Sloan's video today. Jaguar was on Sloan. You got to send us that link. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Before you send us anything, if it was negative, I'll pass.
No,
I
I
can't.
don't think she's. I don't think she's on a negative campaign
Which
against you.
Sloan? Sloan or Sloan
Sloan
Bella?
Bella, I believe it's Sloan Bella. She'll she she say eat your food. No, I'm sure it's Sloan Bella. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's probably Sloan Bella. But that's why I said send it because I'm very interested to hear what she has to say. Um, said what it was not negative, of course. Yeah. No, look,
But we're talking about Sloan Bella, not the little boy Sloan, but Sloan Bella.
you should. Could you please send the link? Which link? What link are you talking about, Sharon? Um, yeah, I don't think it's the little boy with the lip gloss. Yeah. Oh, the guy, not Bella, but it was the lip gloss boy. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, if it ain't negative, still send the link. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I'm
You
always
listen.
interested.
I won't.
Yeah, yeah. You ain't got to. You ain't got to.
I done heard. I've been listening. So yeah, not Sloan, but the guy. Okay, that's
The
what I
guy,
was wondering.
the guy. Yeah. But no, they're trying to get a lot of these content creators to be in unison in lockstep with each other with a particular narrative about whatever. If you pay attention, there's a whole lot of YouTubers who are not speaking about Harvey Levin and his association with Jeffrey Epstein. They're not speaking about Jay-Z's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. They're not speaking on a lot of stuff, and this is by design. And they're bought and paid for. Let's keep it a buck. But that's why I said, definitely just get on over to the Rumble as well because we're building up everywhere. So rumble.com at Jaguar Wright. That's it. That's pretty much what it is. But no, we appreciate you guys being here. I'll say they brought up the Kathy White stuff. Okay, that's what she said. They brought up the Kathy White stuff. Archangel Michael, my bad. Appreciate you, good brother. Our good friend from down under always comes through and checks us out. So y'all sign up and check him out as well. He's got a good message. We appreciate you. So what we got here, we'll I'm gonna let you come in whenever you're done eating and you could, get on up and do what you need to do with this topic and get it going because I'm not going to be too much I'm just going to chime in like I need to. Yeah, it's basically rumble.com/Jaguar Wright. I can put it in the comment section or later, but I'm just letting you know that's pretty much what it is, but I'll do it later. But we got to basically be able to propagate this real message. You tried to get in there and you wasn't able to. Okay. All right. Well, let me see. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm in there. I'm in there like swimwear. You know what I mean? Rare senses there. You know what I mean? So rare senses in there. Maybe you got to just do this. You got to kind of use the way the technology works. You got to say user/Jaguar Wright. So I believe that's it. But anyway, regardless to what, we got to propagate this message.
Yes, and what I will say is this: we don't do certain things over here. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to just take that down.
Oh, somebody's talking about something stupid. Yeah, we come on. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all.
I mean, I get it. I get it. I get it. You want to come into the chat, you want to say some crazy stuff, and you want to get a reaction out of me. You want me to get You know,
Yeah, they trying to
let's
get a
just say
sound bite.
something.
They get a sound. They can get a
So you can get a sound bite from me saying something that I'm really not gonna talk about. But there have been a couple of comments that have been made, and people have been saying, hey, let's talk about Jesus Christ. Let's talk about
yeah, yeah.
the Lord. Let's talk about, and guess what? I think we're going to meet an intersection in this conversation. And the reason why I say that is because if y'all can't see, just from this thumbnail alone, the amount of demon time that we are dealing with in the world on a day-to-day basis, then I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's really sad because we have one young woman who didn't even get to make it to her 15th birthday. We have another young woman who just turned 31. So she's just like, making it into her adult years. I remember my 30s. I remember when I was 31. It was a interesting time because it was right before my dad took really ill, and we were preparing for his leaving this earth. And so I remember that, and it was just, I'm still trying to figure out how this woman got caught up into this trick bag. And now, as we dig a little deeper and we find out a little bit more, like Ashley Robinson was in a whole trick bag.
A bag, or shoot, it's beyond the bag, a whole community.
There's a lot that we're finding out. So let's start off first. We'll get to her later, but let's start off with just revisiting the D4VD case. And it's so interesting because I was looking into a few things. Even the way he spells his name has occult ties.
Wow.
Yeah, it has occult ties.
Well, let's get into the occult stuff down the line, because I got some occult ties. And when we say occult, understand what we're saying, you guys. We're not talking about demon, demonic. Just occult just basically means hidden, right? Unseen, unseen. Stuff that people don't pay attention to,
even though it's happening right in front of your face.
Right. And we're just kind of like oblivious, and we don't understand, we don't know. But I can set it off real quick, Jag, in regards to this case, because there's been new developments with the D4DV case, and Monday they're going to do a press conference, and you already know I'm going to pull up. I already got my spot. I've already reserved my location. We're going to pull up to find out more information about what's going on with this case. But right now, the new developments is he has been arrested and questioned for the unalivement of Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
Let's start off with that.
The singer D4VD has been arrested, not officially charged, but just arrested for the unalivement of Celeste Hernandez.
Okay. Red flags and horns going off for me all at the same time.
Speak on it.
Well, first things first. After 7 going on 8 months, they finally arrested him.
Yeah.
But they arrested him with a probable cause arrest warrant. And even though he's being held with no bail, it's for the suspicion of. So they didn't go to a grand jury. This is a police officer saying, hey, we got probable cause that we think this guy did it, and we're bringing him in. He still has not been charged. So everyone needs to be clear on that. David has not been charged with any crime,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is kind of weird because he's committed a good few. Endangerment of a minor, kidnapping, um, for crying out loud. Like, how many others?
Yeah. A lot.
We're looking at obstruction of justice. They were deleting things online, surrounding her disappearance, her kid, like custodial interference. Like he's committed, and then you know, and the most obvious of all, statutory rape. Exactly. That's like what, 4 or 5? They could have easily charged him with all of those a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But instead, 7 months later, they go and they pick him up. And guess what? He's been in LA. We were told months ago that he had left LA, he had fled LA, he went back to Texas, and then nobody said where he was. But apparently he's been living peacefully here in LA all this time. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? So, I don't know how I
Yeah.
feel about this. The way it's looking like to me is that they did this because they had to, and the reason why it's taken this long is because whatever story or whatever narrative is being created or centered around how they plan on handling this case has finally been secured.
They've pretty much figured out what they're going to do, and I don't want to jump the gun, but it looks like what it looks like. I said they're giving him the Diddy treatment, because I think someone just said the record label knew he was okay, what's going on here? I was trying to get the current news. This is why I try to pull up stuff, and I was telling you about doing the screenshots. But what they do is they try to get in front of things when it comes to stories like this. So this is what the AP is saying here, and if y'all you guys can read it, I could just summarize what they're saying.
Yeah.
D4VD has been arrested on suspicion of unaliving a 14-year-old girl whose decomposed body was found 7 months ago, and has apparently abandoned Tesla. And his lawyer is saying that he's innocent. We pulled up when the story broke and just got the lay of the land of what was going on within that area, just so our audience could see and just see, because we physically went to the house, the location, saw the backyard, all that good stuff. And we were like, okay, maybe this is an open and close, open shut, open close situation where it looks like something suspicious. If you find a unalived body in a person's car, I mean, that's kind of like open and shut, if you, in all honesty, but that's not necessarily the case. Of course, they want to make sure that they get a greater charge versus what you just said with the statutory rape and the minor, like there's a lot of stuff that they can get him on, but I think the ultimate is the M word.
Of course it's the ultimate, but my problem is this: they're not even coming at him for it. They're questioning him for probable cause, for suspicion of. Meanwhile, they got the private investigator out there, the guy Steven.
I was going to mention that.
So you want to get into that?
No, go ahead. Yeah, let's go. You go ahead.
So anyway, he's this guy. He kind of trips me out because I think people tend to forget when he first showed up. He first showed up early on in the investigation, about what, 2 weeks out,
Yeah.
upon them finding Celeste in the car, and it was pretty much after they identified it was her, because when they first found the remains in the car, there was no name, there was no nothing. It was just female found, whoopty whoopty whoop. And then we found out like within 10 days that it was her. That's when people started going through all of, the missing history. Her running away from home. We ran into the teacher. The teacher talked about it.
Hmm.
And then here comes, what is his name? Steve Fisher.
Yes. Stephen Fisher.
So, yeah, Steve Fisher comes into the story at this point in time. And if we remember, he was brought in by the owner of the house
Yes.
on what was the name of the street?
It slips my mind, but it
It
was in
was
the mountains above West Hollywood area. Doherty and
no,
mm, the
oh
bird. There
goodness.
was those bird avenues. I forget the name of it, but nonetheless,
No, but they changed the name because we were researching the property when they were doing all of their reenactments, and they changed the name to Vireo Drive. It was something else though. Anyway, long and short of it, and salute to whoever got that gifted membership from Sharon. Anyway, in comes Stephen Fisher. He was, because they were renting that house, and that house wasn't being rented by David. It was being rented by David's manager, who ran the satellite label that in turn ended up getting picked up by the much larger label Interscope Records, which we know is huge. For those of you who know anything about Interscope, it brought you labels like Aftermath with Dr. Dre. Eminem, his label is on Interscope. I mean, Interscope Records has been attached to a lot of big, 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 big music. So, long and short of it, we knew from the very beginning it was going to be hard for the industry to prove that there wasn't some kind of connection to this. So the house was rented by the manager, who said he was never there, he never lived there. He got it for his artist. David was living there. He knew nothing about it. He had a 14-year-old daughter. How dare anybody ask him any questions? The owner of the house hires Stephen Fisher. And guys, don't mind me. I'm going back through all of these details because I want to make sure that we're paying attention. Um Now, Stephen Fisher was hired because the owner of the house wanted to make sure that there was no foul play that had happened with the girl in his property. He wanted to clear his property of having anything to do with the demise of this young girl. Am I correct? Am I
that's right.
remembering things right?
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Now, Stephen Fisher asked around a little bit, lightweight. He's, he's a private detective. His skills are for hire. And there had been rumors allegedly that he can he might be the right guy to hire if you're trying to push a certain narrative.
Hmm.
So, all that being said, we started seeing Stephen Fisher doing a bunch of interviews, talking about this, talking about that. He started researching Celeste. Remember, there's a
Yeah.
short up on my channel, the Jaguar Wright Effect, with him kind of being misleading about certain details about when the last time Celeste was seen alive. First he said it was January, then he said it was July.
Yeah.
And he kind of was just, botching things up, just confusing it just a little bit. And I pulled that out and I'm like, He sit here and he's saying this on like these big interviews, and nobody's calling him on getting his back straight. But he continued to go forward, and he was the one that came forward and was the one that let us know that there was what, like a cremation
No,
device.
there was an attempt to pretty much, yeah, burn her, cremate her. Yeah, there was a,
But I'm saying he's the one that found all of that stuff, right? That for whatever
yeah,
reason the police didn't find when they came in
there
to
was a
raid the
furnace
place.
that was a furnace or something that
The
was bought.
furnace.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he
The
even mentioned
cremation furnace.
about the freezer as well. Yeah, he
And
mentioned
I
that.
and some kind of, saw or cutting tools, heavy industrial cutting tools. Like, he's the one that brought all of this stuff up. And now he's bringing new things up, correct?
Yeah, he made a statement on some news network that I was looking at last night because this all broke last night, and of course we were on it. And he made a statement in regards to this arrest and the condition of, or what the possibility, what had possibly happened, to where he mentioned Celeste. What probably would happen was Celeste was derugged and overdosed and ended up expiring, and it looks like it was a mistake, and they got rid of the body and they did this and that and that. Like, he made those assumptions like right off the bat. Like, that's so he threw that out there. But the thing is, keep in mind, LAPD, medical examiner, and all, and they've been keeping a lot of stuff under wraps, and I believe it's on purpose. But we'll find out why. But they've been keeping a lot of this under wraps. Number one, they found the body in a decomposed situation. So, in order for someone to even come up with that hypothesis of, well, this might have happened, you're saying all this, but you got no proof. Just off of logic alone, like I said, we got to be critical thinkers. Just thinking alone, like, how are you going to come to that conclusion when her body was decomposed and spread about, and it was just a torso? Like, you're not, if it's in such bad condition, you're not going to be able to get a toxicology report. Am I correct?
In Very much so correct. Oh, by the way, there's a comment that I highlighted. What's going on? Thanks for saying this, Mrs. Thornton. Said he was hired in Sebastian Rogers' case by the suspects and totally tried to screw that case all up. Fisher also screwed up another case before that in Tennessee, too. Several cases. He lies for money, and all of that is alleged, we'll say.
We'll
But
say allegedly, but Miss Thornton, we appreciate that, because that's why I brought that up in regards to when I saw that comment and him saying that. I was like, oh, he sounds like he's trying to throw something off.
oh yeah, but he's been sounding that way all along. What I'm not understanding is why is he still speaking about this case when his part in this case should be over?
Right.
Like, this no longer is about the house. This no longer is about that property. This no longer is about the person who hired him, which was supposed to be the actual owner of the house, which was just trying to clear any wrongdoing in the home. So, their place wouldn't become a ghost listing that nobody would want to rent ever again. So now, is he working with the police? Is he working for the police? Like, who's he working for?
Good
Who's paying
question.
for his time and opinion now? Like,
Good
that's what
question.
I want to know.
It's a
Because
valid question.
he should be done.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be seeing him unless he's actually working with and along the police, which would be a good look, because considering that he has, you know, a not so great reputation for handling cases with accuracy, that wouldn't look good for the police to be using him in any way, shape, or form.
Nah.
Unless they were not interested in the truth. you know, uh, Wait a second. Hold on. Miss Thornton put 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers is still missing. And mom and stepdad still not arrested. Haven't searched. Missing for over 2 years now. He
Wow.
lied and falsified footage. Ah,
Wow.
ran his mouth to the. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy doesn't seem like he's very thorough in his line of work. He might need to just go and apply for a job at Lowe's. They need people like him over there. Um, he seems
Why? I don't need anybody giving me misinformation on any of the tools or any of the stuff that I buy over there either.
well, I mentioned Lowe's because he talked about all types of devices and things that were purchased. So he's very well versed in that department. So at least give him his credit and put him. You go where you're appreciated and not where you're tolerated. So that's why I mentioned Lowe's. But the even when we did our walkthrough of the neighborhood, and I really wish next time. See, I'm going to invest in a drone because imagine if we had a drone and we really, because if you guys go back to our live, we were there. This was before
Yeah.
everybody started just popping up there. I did my little research and I figured out, oh, okay, here's the location. Wasn't hard. It wasn't easy to find, but it wasn't hard. But it was out there, and we did what we did on the ground, foots on the ground, boots on the ground, and we saw the location. There was a big backyard. There was a lot going on.
A whole
And
lot going on.
and what we discovered, yeah, we were just like, okay, let's see how all this play out. And I'm gonna throw this because let's get into the esoteric side or the occult side, right? Let me start off with this. When they found or discovered Celeste's remains, etc., they did it in Virgo. When the season was Virgo, if you guys know astrology, she's a Virgo, right? So they discovered her body
Mm-hmm.
around the same season when she was born. So she's born in Virgo. They discovered her in Virgo. It was at like September,
Yep.
around there.
It was early September. Don't forget, it happened right before Charlie Kirk.
Right before. Yep.
It was
Right
September. I
before.
think it was September 8th.
Yep. A few days later, then we had the Charlie Kirk
And then
situation.
Charlie
So
Kirk happened 2 days later because Charlie Kirk happened and it kind of tampered down the whole conversation around this case. And then people didn't start really talking about it again because we went before, the Steve Fisher showed up. Yeah.
and that happened in the September. So again,
Yep.
remember that's Virgo. So now we are moving into actually we are in Aries. We're in the season of Aries. Like I said, it's wartime. It's Aries. That's what Aries represent. D4VD he's an Aries. So that's what we were talking about when we were talking about the esoteric side, the occult side, and you got to pay attention to other things like that. So yeah, there's other things going on. and my conclusion is, just even with that alone, they're sending messages. I don't want to get too conspiratorial or spooky about it, but they're getting ready to cover for some other people, in my opinion. Or
Mhm.
this D4VD guy is going to get off.
Well, let's be clear. They've been saying all along that other people were involved. And guess what? We've been saying that too.
Mm-hmm.
I've said that from the very beginning. I said, I don't, especially the way they set the whole thing up and they moved the car with the remains in the car and then they jumped on the tour bus and went on the road to start his tour doing social media like, hey, it's just a normal day. It's really interesting because nobody's being I'm just gonna say it. I really, 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 really do think, in my opinion, that there's a trafficking aspect to this. We already know there's a G rooming aspect to this. But there's something more going on here because he's a new artist, he's a young kid. For them to be staging this great a cover up or an alleged cover up around this situation here. He had this girl out in public. He brought this girl to shows. His family was around this girl. They have found footage of him with of her with his younger siblings when his mother was present. Like, everybody knew about this. And then don't nobody know nothing. Everyone is pleading the fifth. Everyone is running from being served. Everyone is refusing to testify to the grand jury, his family. Like, there's been a lot going on. And let's not forget that his father, even though he's not a lawyer, still works with the litigation department of a law firm that handled Jeffrey Epstein as a client.
Yep.
A lot of people have forgotten about that, or just aren't talking about it anymore. So I got to ask myself, why are they working so hard to protect this kid? And then I have to remember, Celeste wasn't the only younger girl he was dealing with. There were other younger girls, teenage girls that people were calling him out for. So for me, I think it's connected to a much, much, much larger situation. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's other hands that they need to make sure that they're not connected to. I'm not, and I said it initially, but I'm not gonna repeat what I had said because I know the lay of the land when it comes to Hollywood and especially that area. And it's so close to Beverly Hills. And I used to work at a place, and this kid might have been at this person's studio, and it's not very far from such a location.
You're
So
talking about
don't
the husband of, well,
you
I'm
ain't
just
got
going to
we ain't
say,
even got it. Let's not even hint around it because I'm gonna say this. There's a lot of people that try to take what we say and you know how they do. But I mentioned it before, and I'm standing on what I'm saying, but I'm not going to repeat it. But yeah, I'm just under the impression that there's a whole lot going on the undercurrent, and they don't want the public to know who's affiliated with this kid. Well, I ain't even say kid because this is a grown man, but they could bring people like him into the fold because he's perfect for bringing in the young, the fresh meat. Let's just say it like that, and then everyone else can have a grab at it because he's the. But this is how these networks work when you deal with Hollywood. Sometimes that's part of the game. I hate to
well,
say it
let's
like
not
that.
forget, this is a kid who was an influencer first.
Right.
He was a gamer.
Right.
He met Celeste in the chat room of a video game, then brought her over to Discord. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's this whole online world and the way they're baiting children and luring children in.
Mm-hmm.
There's something very dark about this kid, and then even just the kind of music that he makes and the things that he talks about, the ritualistic side to him releasing music about taking the life of someone that he was in love with right around her birthday.
Yeah.
It's It's morbid and it's sick. But just to think about how, he was romanticizing all of this necromancy. Just it's yeah, it's I don't know. I'm disturbed. Like honestly, it makes me want to stutter when I think about the amount of time this kid spent online, this David guy spent online talking to hundreds and thousands of children day for day, week for week, and then able to cherry pick. And look at who he picked. He picked a runaway. And I think about that because I remember being a teen runaway. And once upon a time, I ran away from home. My reasons were different, but I did. And I'm just thinking to myself, it was a blessing that I made it home, that I made it home safe, that I didn't get caught up, and that somebody didn't do anything to me, didn't harm me. And this was before the chat rooms were a public thing. Can you imagine what the 80s and the 90s would have been like if that stuff had been more prevalent?
You mean the chat room stuff? Because the traffic light stuff, that's been there.
It's
Yeah, they've
been
been doing
around.
that. I know.
But I'm talking about just like when I
The
think about being
accessibility of being able to
yeah,
get these kids, because that's what they
yeah,
are,
it was
that way.
different. It was so much different. Like, these predators used to have to work a lot harder and they had to be a lot more covert, to do the things that they were doing. You would hear about some kids going missing from pen pal chains and
Hold on, I was muted because I'm listening to this Steve Fisher
all the
guy talk
time.
about.
Or
Okay, you were muted too, I guess. Maybe I don't know what's going on. Did y'all hear what she just said? Because I just heard you say all the time. Um,
no, that happened to me too. You had cut out while you were speaking. I think it's just us.
okay. No, I was gonna mention the fact that, not to cut you, but
Hmm.
I literally just saw a blurb and Steve Fisher was speaking about the fact that LAPD didn't need or go to a grand jury to get this arrest, which that's why I said we'll talk deeper into it about it later once everything comes out, because
Hmm.
really overall they got them Thursday. They have to, if they don't charge you within 3 days,
They have to
you're up
let you
out of there.
go.
They gotta let you go. So I'm curious to see what their game plan is, and that's why I said I think this is just like a dog and pony show. The reality is maybe nothing's not going to come of this. They're just doing this because, like I said, there's a ritualistic aspect to it as well.
Hmm.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. Back to what you were saying about if they had the ability
Yeah, I'm
back
just saying,
then.
can you imagine what our childhood would have been like?
There used to
You
be
know, I
stranger danger. There used to be a thing where it was, you know, don't talk to strangers, and
yeah, the shish tattoos, all of that. Like a 13-year-old girl with a tattoo on her hand that she shares with some older guy. Like it's really all very, very, very bizarre. Once upon a time, you go into the supermarket to go get some milk, and you would see a kid on the milk cart. Remember? They don't
and
do
now,
that anymore, do they?
well, now that we understand what was going on back then, they put them on the milk carton, but that's part of this whole little ritualistic stuff that I'm talking about too. Yeah.
Exactly.
And we don't see that. Now they have amber alerts and ebony alerts, which I want to talk about that on a different topic, because that's
Yeah.
heavy.
It's
Organ harvesting, all that good stuff,
all
y'all.
that stuff that's going on. And with the kind of stuff that me and Grace are going over from her research in the files and the pictures, when you think of people like Marina Abramovich and her spirit cooking, like, why does nobody get freaked out at the fact that these people are involved in some really, really, really dark stuff. But anyway,
Hmm.
we just wanted to touch on that a little bit and just say we're going to be diving back into this. We're going to be discussing where this goes.
Yeah, we'll be live at the press conference Monday when everything is to be discussed and what's going to happen. He'll probably be hit with charges, but I mean, I don't know. And then don't forget
We'll see.
his buddy was it Neo or Neon
Yeah.
Neo
Neo. Yeah.
Neo. He ended up giving some insight to the authorities, so
Yeah,
maybe
but he said he didn't have anything to say.
he gave
That
him
was what the
something.
insight was.
He gave him something. He had to give him something. We'll see.
No, they said he didn't. He didn't. He pretty much said he didn't know anything.
Yeah, they say a lot of
He was
things.
only there for 45 minutes.
Yeah, they say a lot of things. We don't know.
We
I
we,
heard
we
he
don't
had
know.
something to do. I heard he had something to do with moving the cars. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, actually, Steve Fisher is the first person to insinuate that.
Right.
So I just yeah, all of this necromancy. It's a lot of wild stuff going on out here, honey. A lot of wild stuff. But yeah, now that this has happened, I guess they finally just felt as though they needed to do something because it's starting to look crazy. It's starting to look really crazy. You know, the idea of protecting Diddy is one thing because of what he is and what he means and what it says. But this heavy protection of David, what it's starting to say to me is this isn't about just protecting a person. This is about protecting a network.
Boom.
Because the truth is, they could kick this guy to the wolves. They could just let him go to jail for the rest of his life. And there's 40 more kids that they can get to replace him. Am
You
I
guys
wrong?
gotta no, you're right. You gotta pay attention to this Kai Sanat kid, right? Like you guys peep how he kind of just got sucked into this whole game entertainment side. And it's funny because I talked about it on my channel yesterday about Pinky Doll, who you guys understand who she is. She's this NPC content creator, and then she had to navigate and do other things. And now all of a sudden she's having health issues. We don't know what's going on. I don't want to get conspiratorial on that, but I'm saying the new class or the new people that they're after are these influencers. Because these influencers, these kids, I tripped out when my kids were younger. They would sit and watch a video of someone playing Roblox. I'm like, you guys are not playing it. You're watching someone play Roblox. Oh, okay, all right. Or watching them play other video games. And I'm like, what fun is it? And they're sitting there looking. I'm like, okay, my kids are dumb. I was like, what these kids are dumb. But that's what this generation is. They are looking at other content creators play things, and and then they'll go and they'll learn and they'll play and they'll do their own thing. But that's what they do. So these influencers,
It's hypnotism.
yes, these it's something about those brain waves. Is it? I think you're in alpha state when you're watching TV or YouTube. So the kids are just it was like they were hypnotized. I'm not gonna lie. These kids, my kids were like in junior high at the time. So the system understands here's where you're going to get the next generation of consumers, voters, blah, 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 whatever.
Exactly.
You got to get with the influencers, and these influencers do their thing and they come up organically for the most part. And Akai Sanat, he garnered a mass of people and kids, and they watch his stuff, and they, then you got these other rappers getting on his stuff. So it's like influencers helping out other influencers to gain more popularity, etc. He kind of like almost like he had like a crash out not too long ago. Maybe he was kind of like, they said, hey, they said you got to do this, or we need you to do it. And he's like, hey, I ain't trying to do it. Like he's been in some instances to where you're looking at him and you're like, oh no, he's probably trying to fight against something, or somebody's after him, or
we saw it when he went to the BET Awards.
Yeah.
He was freaked out at the BET Awards, and then this very statuesque male representing came over to him telling him how he had to come to the party, and he was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go. She was like, no, you have to come, you have to be there. And now they have him being handled up on by Law Roach. And I'm still not understanding how people are looking at Law Roach and seeing him as a major problem, especially considering his close proximity and relationship to Naomi Campbell, and with everything now that's coming out about about her connection to Epstein, and the models that are now speaking out against her, accusing her of G-rooming them.
Which we'll get more in depth with your coming soon Jaguar Wright Uncensored podcast about the deeper dives into the Epstein files, because there's so much stuff out there and people are just not really catching it. But we're going to sit here and try to throw it at you so you can connect the dots. But that's a good point. Law Roach's connection to Naomi, who's connected to Epstein and the Weinsteins and all them.
And he's also Zendaya's one and only, stylist, who's very, very, very protective over her and has to grab her by the arm and has to walk her here and walk her there. And they're in close. He's like a mother to her. Like, number one, he's a man.
Right.
He's a man. But see, there's things that easy coming up from the Bay Area. Like, a lot of people keep forgetting, Zendaya was discovered by Dwayne Wiggins from Tony. Like, Dwayne Wiggins was the one that took Beyonce and Destiny's Child to Sony. His son's group, Pop Life. And then later down the line, just that evolved into the production with Raphael Sadiq, which brought us the likes of Lucky Day. Like, there's a lot there. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but there is something foul. And then the second that Law Roach gets his hands on, what is it? Kai Cenati's got him looking like Gumby, dressing in all these weird clothes. Just weird. And there's something about him that looks broken. And if everybody remembers, after he went to the BET Awards, he started having all of these weird occurrences happening on his stream, like Ray J showing up, getting bucket naked and in the shower with the soaps up. Remember all of that? And then there was the accusation from his friend that was there at the stream that said, they were taking stuff, and when he woke up, he was sore, and he accused Ray J of potentially assaulting him. Like, there was a lot. The meltdown that Absol had on his live stream. You remember, like, there was a lot that was going on. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. Side note, before we move on to the next topic, I'm sitting there like, yo, who is this? It's Ice Spice fighting a girl in McDonald's last night up the street, the one in Hollywood. I'm like, wait, what? I got the audio, but this is wild. Wow. I said, wow. So the girl just pulls up. Ice Spice is just sitting there with her back to the door, which, that's kind of I get it because she's Ice Spice, and she had her hoodie on, so she didn't want to be like discovered. But the girl just kind of pulled up on her like, where you from? Where are you from? Like, just weirdo stuff. The girl just started like beating on her. Ice Spice got up and got on the table, getting down. Like, then they went outside, start fighting. What part of the game? Wow.
Well, I mean, how is that any weirder than Sneeko getting snuck?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We could talk about that.
Well, we maybe we can talk about that at the end. Let's carry on to the next one, because I think this is funny, because there a lot of entertainers are catching L's. Sneeko got bombed on the other day. Now Ice Spice, and before that was Offset getting shot in the anus. I mean, okay, it's crazy.
I mean, Janae, I hear what you're saying, and the truth is, if he's mentally ill, then so is 2/3 of the young people in America, because they all suffer from the same disease.
There's definitely something going on with him, but I don't think it's a mental thing. I believe it's a spiritual thing.
Absolutely. And that's the problem, if you ask me, because there's a lot of spiritually ill people being passed off as mentally ill. Like, I don't think people understand, like, that's the easiest way to get people, from not paying attention. We live in an esoteric world, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. Like, I don't know why people are so quick to, shut that part of life down, but
Right.
It is real, and when you think about it, if you were the devil and you wanted to trick people into not believing in spirituality and the dangers of good and evil in the spiritual world, in the spiritual realm, the easiest way to do it would be mental health.
And in America, Ronald Reagan was the one who cut the funding for all of the mental health facilities around the country back in the 80s.
Yeah.
It used to be a thing. My mom would tell me, oh yeah, you should just call and say this person's 5150 and they'll come get this person. I was like, dang, that's crazy. It's like, yeah, they used to just really come pick people up off the street. If you would say, yeah, this person's 5150.
They're about to start doing it again now.
Well, they're going to start doing it again. They're going to, for sure. But, and I was going to just say the irony of Reagan being pow-powed by someone who should have been in one of them facilities. Reagan survived, but that was the irony of it. But I do believe, yeah, they're going to get back to the days of, just it's a whole lot going on. I think I say you said mentally, and I was like, okay, yeah, the mental side of it, but the psycho-spiritual side of it too. That's why I was saying about the D4VD guy. It's something psycho-spiritual going on. Plus, everybody's eating plastic. Everybody, a lot of us are not eating real food. Let's just keep it a buck. So when you eat this, lab-grown meat and this fake food, and you're gonna act crazy. You're gonna act. And you took them jabs, and you gonna act crazy.
It's wild. It's just wild. Like, when you think about, you keep poisoning people, and it's going to have a negative reaction. Like, it's going to throw off people's mental capabilities, their physical capabilities, all of that stuff. But
Rare Sense in the Rumble says the masses are starting to see the pure evil between fraud and the traffic light. Non-government organization manipulated everything that was supposed to help us. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Right on. Appreciate you for that.
And they definitely don't want people waking up to that. They definitely don't want people talking about that. So from one social media disaster to another. Let's just get right over into it.
Yes.
Ashley Robinson, Ashley Janee, and her alleged fiance, Prince Charming, Joe McCann. I'm sorry. I'm not, I can't call her, I can't say that they were engaged. The more that we find out about what was going on, I cannot say that this was an engagement in anything other than debauchery and hell. So, for those of you who haven't been paying attention or don't know the details, I'm just going to do a quick little whoop de woo through the details of Ashley and Joe. Now, this is what is really tripping me out about this story, because how did nobody know that she was a stripper
Hmm.
and an
Hmm.
sex worker? How did nobody know that? Why why wasn't there more conversation about that? Because honestly, when you think about the kind of comments that she was getting in her post leading up to her demise, that would have made more sense. Or even some of the comments, like that one comment that she made when somebody said, "Please, sir, don't chop her up and put her in a suitcase and bury her in the walls." And she came back and said, "I don't get chopped, just screwed." Like, when I think about that now,
Hmm.
that's not the kind of thing that a woman would say about a loving relationship. Or am I wrong?
No, you're on point. And
That
that was
sounds like some trick hoe. It's beyond crest, especially when you're talking about your relationship with the love of your life
right.
and the love of your life is interracial. Make it all racial, because apparently he is a thing for black women, period, because he's married to one. And he's still married to his, she high yella, but he's still married to his wife. They have children. And I think they got married in 2019. So they literally got married like just as the pandemic was coming in. And for whatever reason, the wife wanted to get away from him. Now, we're finding out a lot more stuff. So she had a whole nother social media page where she was an influencer on one page, and then she was, pretty much OnlyFans on the other page. And I think they met at a club where
Well, when
she
they
was stripping at.
when they say influencer, that's a I mean, that's loosely. You know how they do with these terms. I'm actually looking at Joe McCann's LinkedIn, right? So
Right.
she's from Miami for sure, and she's been warned plenty of times about this guy who she thought was his her savior. But no. She's from Miami. He's from Miami, and yeah, he's associated with Asymmetric Information. That's um, a company I believe he's the CEO of, right?
Um, Asymmetric. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Joe McCann is a person who is in that field, IT, crypto, etc. Right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's new to this because that company, he launched that company. He started raising money and launched that company in 2022. That was 4 years ago.
Hedge fund manager, technology executive, creative technologist, hacker as well. So Keep that in mind. He's a hacker. Don't forget that. And he said it. He's the one that said it. I didn't say it. But yeah, he started it in July of 2022. And yeah, he says it's a stealth software company specializing in crypto native infrastructure and risk management tooling. Before that, um, he was with Stardust, or he was a members of the board of advisors for a company named Stardust in San Francisco.
So
all this is technology, IT technology. Yeah, yeah.
And once upon a time, he was a DJ, and he DJ'd techno music.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, well, his company crashed.
So there was rumors that he was worth 45 million. Now he's worth 9. Right?
I mean, allegedly, if all the information that we're getting is accurate, they said he lost 80% of his net worth. So
yeah, that would be about right. If you were 45 million, because that's what they said at first. They said he was worth
45 million. If he lost 80, then yeah, he'd be worth about 9 now.
9 million. And see, I think a lot of people don't understand when you're dealing with crypto, it's ups and downs. There's also Ponzi schemes in that. There's traffic light situations tied to that too.
And let's not forget that crypto is a great way to launder money.
That's what I was going to get there. He only had almost 15,000 followers on. This is just on LinkedIn. I think he had around that same amount on IG. I think I got his IG here as well. He just has about 1,000 followers on IG. It looks as if their relationship, Joe McCann's and the Ashley Robertson girl, it looked like it was like some type of, they were supposed to be some mutual benefactor. That's what they at least put out there, to where she had an influence. She had an Instagram following of 150K, something like that.
I thought it was like 120.
Well, something like that, yeah. But he needed to latch on to someone to get his weight up. That's what I was told. Am I right? Okay.
That's what's being alleged, that he was using her to help, boost or bolster his online persona, which is crazy. Because he's been in technology this long. He should know how to do that on his own.
Well, but see, you could be technical and know a lot of stuff, but then it don't necessarily work with you, because number one, see, influencers, they actually, supposedly live life. They're supposed to be out. They're supposed to have a certain personality. They're supposed to be what's the word I'm looking for, where where people are attracted to their personality. You can't be like dull, or a lot of times these tech people are just boring, and all they did is tech. They don't go nowhere. They don't experience life per se. They're just tech, right? So,
and I get that.
That's not necessarily the case where he, just because he knows how, he should know how to manipulate. I mean, if he's a hacker, though, I get what you're saying. But if she had an authentic following, but if you're saying she was a S worker, then I understand why she would have a following of that magnitude.
Yeah, because what was she, as an influencer, what was she selling? Was she just modeling? Was she just an Instagram model? Like, this is the problem that I have with this whole social media life. Everyone gets to call themselves an influencer. Everyone gets to just say that they're an influencer. Everyone gets to just be an influencer, and nobody knows what you do or what you did or get like anyone. And the truth is most of these people that are calling themselves influencers are in, SEX work, a good share of them.
True.
So when she's sitting there talking about, oh, I live a soft life. What do you mean? What do you mean you live a soft life? because you're no one's wife. You're marketing, you're selling your looks, you're selling your, and who knows what else you were selling. I find it funny. IG isn't a modeling agency, but low key, it really is for a lot of people now.
And Craigslist wasn't a whole stroll, but it was for a lot of people.
Yeah, like it's
Or what was
people
it?
are
Back page?
the back pages.
Yeah.
The back pages, and now the back pages are just OnlyFans,
And IG.
And IG. And let's not forget about Hotok on TikTok. Like there's people are using these to market themselves and all for cash, but whatever the case may be, let's digress. So these two, they meet, they hook up. He's in technology, he's in finance. She's looking for, I mean, this is like the Pretty Woman story gone wrong to me. Richard Gere comes along, he needs a date. He needs somebody to, take him out, make him look like, he's got this beautiful girl and all of this and all of that. And this is like Pretty Woman going wrong. It's insane. So now, if I'm correct, they've been together for going on 2 years. It doesn't seem like they knew a lot about each other because he's not promoting their relationship on his social media at all. Matter of fact, she was nowhere. She was nowhere on his social media. When I first heard that, I couldn't believe it. I went and I checked. His wife, his kids, crypto. No Ashley. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, how in God's name did she feel like she was in a real relationship here?
I told you she had around 150K.
Okay.
You guys see her IG right here, right?
It must have went up some. Because
But yeah, you're right, she has him all over the IG. And of course, it's her, with her pictures and stuff. And, it just, it screams something else, but I'm not going to go there.
it
Yeah,
screams.
What is she known for?
That's what I'm saying. This is it. You know what that looks like? Summer Walker and the guy that she took to the award show with her.
Boom. The guy, I forgot, he reached out to me. I should have got in contact with him. Yeah, it does.
You remember that?
I remember. 365 down. Here's to forever. You can look at his body language. Oh my God. Like,
technically, that post isn't a lie because her life ended. That is her forever.
Yeah. People are saying I'm baffled. All these comments that was basically predicting this.
Yeah. Now, in no way, shape, or form does this mean that we're on board with the idea of all of those black men that were pretty much applauding her demise. No.
Well, that's what social media wanted. They wanted to use this situation to fan the flames for the the black man, black female,
exactly,
hate train against each other. They definitely wanted that. Truth be told, I'll say it like this though. She chose who she wanted to be with, and it's kind of like, hey, it is what it is. A woman will be protected by her father, covered under her father until, she's married, and then she's covered and protected by her husband.
Well,
Now,
let's
her
be
dad.
clear. Did she choose who she wanted to be with, or did she choose the fantasy life she was looking for?
Let me. I'm not gonna answer that because I don't know. But let me just say this: her birth father obviously is a black man, and when you look at they did a interview. I believe they did an interview like was with TMZ,
Yeah.
and I was perplexed because there was a two women, black females, women, one black man. They had is a white or Hispanic guy. So the father is speaking because all four of them are on screen. The mother and the father of Ashley are no longer together, but the mother, it looks like, married a white man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did Ashley, look at her mom and said, I want to be like my mom, and I have disdain for my dad, so I'm going to do this? Or was it true love? Which I don't think it was. I think it was, someone, like I said, this Joe McCann wanted to take advantage of her influence and what it is that she could bring to his career, and she wanted the soft life and he had money, and so I guess, what is it, quid pro, or like it was like, well, that's usually what marriages are. Y'all look out for each other, y'all give you guys, it's a mutual benefactor situation. But the media is definitely putting this out there to turn it against, to put it on us, so that we're going at it with each other. I'll say again, she chose to be with that individual, so she thought that person would protect her. And the case is very strange because she went over to Tanzania, Zanzibar to be exact, got proposed to by this man, and then all hell broke loose that day. Now, what are they saying about this whole situation?
Well, actually, no. All hell was breaking loose when they got there. They were arguing. There are people that have come forward that said that in the villas they could hear them arguing. So, like the pictures that we saw, this was all staged for online. And more importantly, actually, you know what? Don't we have some audio?
I was, boom. I'm finna pull it up right now. Check this out. We do have
there's
some audio,
Mhm.
and you can go ahead and just let me know when you're ready. I'm gonna go ahead and get it ready.
No, I was just going to say there's a content creator in Africa who does a lot of social media, African pop culture content. And apparently she has some sources that are, inside the situation there in Zanzibar. And she sat down, I guess, and did a live stream with another American content creator. So we have that audio and we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Fumi De Saluvoid, I guess that's her name. Vold. And a shout out to Slauson Girl for the audio clip.
Well known by hotels, staff, and the people. So he has frequented Zanzibar. And my source said they were arguing about him cheating on her. He would leave the villa to go to other women at night.
And other women, would it be local women?
Yes. And then they also said that there was an argument at I think at the reception or something like that. Outside, there was also another argument. Somebody was flirting with Ashley, and he got offended and she started screaming about him cheating on her. That is what my source said. And he
Okay, so that's that. That was a piece of it right there.
We don't have more than that.
I can find more, but yeah,
Okay,
that was a clip, meaning a
got it.
piece.
Well, then let's get into a few other things that I hear tell. Now, when they said that they had a fight and they had to be separated, I didn't realize that they had gotten into a fist fight. I thought it was a verbal fight. They were hollering, yelling, and screaming, taking pictures, posting for the internet. They got into a fist fight. So, you know, like this is crazy. And she's got this engagement ring on her finger with this guy who like there's just so much more now to this story, because now 10 people have been arrested surrounding the investigation of her demise. He had a friend who was helping him hook up with other women. He had a relationship with the staff, and allegedly he was getting guys on the staff to flirt with her just so he could have a fight with her to get away from her so that he could go and hook up with other chicks. Like, this is crazy. And Sharon, what did you say? They were saying that she wasn't a good girl at all. She put off the bed. In fact, she was a stripper. Said before these guys were trafficking and trafficked to the king and sacrifice. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on. And what I also found interesting when we talk about it on the spiritual side, the occult side, that there is like a community that practices in the dark arts there, just like it was when Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away last year, which nobody's talking about anymore either. There was a lot of ritualistic stuff that was going on around her, even some symbolism some people are talking about in the pictures that she was taking leading up to her death. And I don't know, it's giving traffic to the king. A whole nother country that doesn't have a good relationship with the United States.
Well,
him lying and saying that he didn't tell them when she first, was taken away that they were engaged. He said that he was her husband,
right,
which would give him the ability, if anything happened, to make decisions for her. Like
it was a misleading. It sounds fishy because he wasn't truthful with the information. And what's the reason for him to bring her over there? If that's a hostile situation and they're fist fighting, I mean, I'm not going on no trip with anybody I've had to fist fight straight up.
Not
right?
Out of the country. Not out of the country.
Not at all. Not at all.
Especially not out of the country.
And you're a woman. We see how this plays out. But him having ties to that country and it sounds like what we were talking about before when we were talking about organ harvesting. That's just what I'm getting.
Like they were fist fighting, and you're getting engaged, but you're smiling all in your pictures. Something sounds off with this whole situation, and her just being obsessed with being in a relationship with someone who had this amount of money. And see, this is why you have to be careful. This is why you have to be careful. With who you choose to trust. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all of this, like these girls go on social media and they're selling this lifestyle. They're selling this, you know. There's, oh yeah, I need me a man that got this much. Like you got people like Young Miami talking about her boyfriend has to have at least $100 million. Well, guess what? This guy was supposed to have close to that, and look at what it did for her.
Right.
Like this is. She's literally saying this in interviews, you know, talking about, you know, her man got to have this kind of money and that kind of money. And these are influencers, right? Well, this girl went and got that. And you know, meanwhile, I'm sure her family is wishing that she was just with a regular old black man.
I'm sure. Well, we'll see.
Much as I hate to say it like that, but
a regular old Dusty. You know, when they say
no, but it's funny because you remember she was saying in the post, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's just all of the things that she was saying is starting to come back to my mind. How she was sitting there talking about how in the 305, how, you know, all these black men are putting their hands on their women. And that's why she's with the guy that she's with. Because she's not going to be a statistic like these women.
Well, shout out.
But you went over to Tanzania
and shout out to Six the Goddess, because she was going in on it too, where she says anything dealing with crime, because when you know talk about black on black crime and all that, crime is based on proximity and you know, opportunity. So even when you're talking about DV and stuff like that, it's usually like whoever, if you're a trailer trash white woman, you're gonna more than likely get with a trailer trash white man, and there's gonna be some violence between the trailer trash white couple because that's their proximity. So she's speaking on something that, you know, she had maybe something to project when it comes to that. But Six the Goddess was going in on her, just saying, well, like what I was talking about, how your ancestors, like y'all, if y'all don't know, you know, she goes in, she's crazy, but she goes in. But she was going in and talking about how, hey, your ancestors will reward you and they will abandon you. We don't know what the situation was, but with this situation, I want to look into this McCann's background. He's probably Irish because of the name and how he looks, but Tanzania was colonized by the Germans, then Britain, and we already know how Germans get down. We know, and they pretty much had that country. Then it was given over to Britain. So yeah, just a little bit of backdrop or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, just I don't know.
The idea of him doing such a public proposal while he's still actually married, the fact that she doesn't appear in his social media at all, but he's all over hers. I don't know. In my opinion, for them to go halfway around the world and, you know, start duking it out like that, to me, that doesn't sound like something that just happened there. Him cheating on her, everything that she was complaining about black men doing is exactly what this guy is up to doing.
Man.
And he's married.
So his current wife, or because he wasn't divorced, she's black as well, correct?
Yeah, she's high yellow, but she's black.
See, I wanted to talk about it, but maybe we'll just see how far this situation goes with these relationships and the dynamics between the relationships. See, in the dating world, the McCann guy would be considered high value or masters of the universe. That's what they call them. when you're making when you're worth that amount, like 45 million, you're good. You could I mean, your time is valuable and your knowledge is valuable. So, when you work hard, you're gonna work hard, and when you play, you're gonna play hard. And he probably just was like, yo, I'm gonna get with this woman. This is just what I'm thinking. He's probably thinking, I'm gonna get with this woman. I'm gonna raise my cachet online by being with her because she has 150K followers, and I need those followers because I'm working on this and I want to do this. Okay, if he knows that she's a 304, then he's probably not gonna hold her in some type of regard or high regard. Therefore, she's thinking, oh, well, I'm gonna do this square relationship. I don't know what their situation was, but she's probably thinking, he and I is gonna do this square relationship. I ain't gotta be on no 304 tip. And oh dang, he got other women, because obviously, like I say, he's a master of the universe. He's probably gonna have 3 or 4 other women. And that's where the tension may have started.
Yeah, but why would they be fist fighting over it, and why would they be arguing about it if that's what she knew he was already on?
Well, like I said,
and why would he be asking people at the resort to flirt with her so he can catch her flirting and just to stage an argument to get away with her to be with other chicks? He had a friend over there. He had a network over there. He's been over there a lot. He was a regular at this resort. He has, he is known to be like, it just doesn't make any sense. And you doing all of this online and you're still legally married, sir. You're not even divorced.
Yeah, he should have got that situation handled before he even started to parade her online.
No,
that was weird.
It's one thing if you want to get engaged while you're still legally married and you're working on your divorce, but you want to make a commitment to the person that you're with and you're legally separated and all of that. Okay, got it. Understand all of that. But to go out of your way to make it a public spectacle, because that would be something that your wife could use against you in your settlement. With the kind of money that he got.
Well,
even if he lost most of it and all he's got is $9 million, doing crazy stuff like that live online, and you're parading your new stripper girlfriend, bruh. That's the kind of stuff that'll get her more than half of whatever's left.
Well, the updates are what? Because they made it seem as if he was like gonna get away with the situation, but I'm told that his passport has been recovered or revoked by the government, and he can't go anywhere until
they took his passport. I don't know if it's been revoked by the United States government, but they took his passport. So he can't go nowhere.
Yeah, the Tanzanian government took his passport. Yeah,
Yeah, so he's there. He's stuck there. And other people have been arrested.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. For us to sit here and to just talk about him being arrested and them taking his passport, him not talking to the family, him not discussing anything with the family, him lying and saying, and wait a minute, because the one part of this story that a lot of people really aren't discussing is what happened to her.
Yeah.
She was in the closet in her suite with a belt around her neck, dangling. That's how she was found.
Wow.
But the thing I'm not understanding is that somebody from the hotel went in there, saw her dangling, and then left to go get help while she was still dangling with a belt around her neck in the closet. For those who are just coming in, we're talking about the Ashley Janee Robinson case, the victim who just passed away in Tanzania, actually in Zanzibar in Tanzania, at the Zuri Hotel. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, they arrested the butler too. And apparently a group of other people. Why wouldn't you try to get her down? I don't. She was still alive. And I'm not saying that this is true. I'm not saying that this is real. But if he was able to pay people to stage events so that he could get into arguments where, like to have that kind of close proximity and relationship with the hotel, where you can get the people there at the resort to go above and beyond the call of duty for you like that. Maybe they were paid to leave her there.
I'm looking
10
into.
people?
See, this is what, and I know, you know me. I try to find the actual evidence, receipts of the 10 people who've been arrested. They currently, and this is according to, I'm just looking on news. I'm going to look on different outlets, but I'm just going to say this. They're saying current status of arrest: no arrests have been made in connection in her death. Her fiance, quote unquote fiance, Joe McCann, is being questioned by the police as a witness. He has not been charged with a crime. He's not officially named a suspect. He's had his passport temporarily held during the investigation. And the police in Zanzibar are still investigating and have not ruled the case as homicide. Early reports suggest that it was suicide, but her family strongly disputes the explanation. They're pushing for more evidence. They're looking for like the footage, surveillance footage. And a lot of people online are claiming someone was arrested or that her fiance was charged, but those claims have not been confirmed by law enforcement or credible news sources right now. So this is what one outlet is saying. Now let me look and find out what's going on. Carry on.
No, this is why we're having this open conversation, because the truth is there are too many conflicting this and conflicting that when it comes to a lot of these stories. It was the same thing with the Celeste case. A lot of conflicting information.
And that's exactly where I was about to go. That's the reason why the name of this is Same Pattern.
He's not arrested. They just took his passport.
Our good friends over at EUR Web.
Jesus.
Right. They said Ashley Janee's boyfriend was detained but not charged. And a lot of times these people don't have the right current up-to-date information. In all honesty, I'm trying to think. I don't really know too many East Africans, to be honest. Because that's how I go to the ninja net. Let me just say it like that. And the ninja net is what my mama and daddy used to call the grapevine, right? And usually, that's just the African grapevine. And this is how you would get information. And a lot of times it'll be the right information. Remember back in the day before the internet, you're like, how did information spread so quick?
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, of course there were telephones, but
the
information was so accurate. The information was so accurate. You'd be like, yo. And yeah, stuff used to get around. Like, you'd be like, wait, this person said this person did this what happened? And you're like, wait, hold. And then come to find out, no, all that is true. There's so much misinformation now, and we got so many ways of
communicating.
You can live stream, you could all that, and people still get it wrong. That's why I said I damn, I'm trying to think man. It'll come to me. But this is going to be an ongoing thing. I think all this information that's coming out about her, because they are saying that the parents actually do have access to her IG because they removed the little the hidden one. Remember you were talking about the S work that she's done?
Yeah, her backup page.
Her backup IG is, no longer available, and they're asking for what, 50 million?
No, 50,000.
50,000, 50 million. $50,000, and they said they said about 900 people donated, and they reached the goal. They got over the goal. They got about 53K to retrieve.
They did that quick
in a matter of hours, a couple of days, right? So they said they did that because they needed to get her. They don't have access to her money, but that might likely not be the case too. This is alleged. I don't know. But there's a whole lot going on that they're not really saying. It's given the same vibes as the Celeste Rivas situation when it first
with her
dropped.
family. Yeah. It's sad, but it's a cautionary tale. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Believe that the boogeyman is real and out to get you. Don't get caught up into these stereotypes. I mean, the truth is her and Celeste were looking for the same thing. They were chasing the good life, right?
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to them.
Celeste was so enamored with the fact that this big star and this big streamer online was so into her. She kept running away from home. She ran to her death. And now we have this young woman. She wanted a soft life. She she wanted a soft life.
Somebody said she was chasing the bag and ended up in one. I said, God. People are harsh. But no, they definitely wanted black men to celebrate this. And in all honesty, it's like, I mean, I can give a F less, to be honest. And I like that. Not about her. I'm just saying who you date. I can give a F less about who you date. But here's when it first came out, the screenshot I got, and people were like dead ass. Right? Like, you see that?
There were a lot of people that were really excited.
Please don't
praise her demise.
Put her in a wall or suitcase. Yeah.
Well, he listened to that part because she was just swinging from a belt in a closet.
Damn.
It was her response that bothered me. I don't get chopped, just screwed. She can't say that either. She can't say anything anymore. And I'm just sitting here looking at these pictures, and it's just, this was a sham. And she probably knew it. But social media and the hype of social media and convincing people that you're living the dream, that you've got it all. You should envy me. Look at me get proposed to. Look at my ring. Look at all of this. Look at all of that. Like,
people get on IG and it's like, look at me, I'm living my best life, but it's like, nah, you living your best lie.
Yeah.
Take the F out. You living your best lie, not your best life. Your best lie. And she just fell a victim to that. She did. She fell victim to it.
It's sad. It's just a good thing she doesn't have any kids.
Yeah, I know.
That's the good thing, because at 31 years old, You know, a lot of these girls, they got kids by that age, so it's a good thing because that would just be terrible.
Yeah, I was looking for something else because I was gonna mention, um, because I sent you something about interracial situations where, um, primarily white male, black female, and a black female end up unalive. But there's been instances where it was the other way, where it was a white woman and a black male, and the black male been unalive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it really don't matter when you're dealing with DV and all that. Like it's it's a very serious situation, violence and all that. Like
It's nothing to do with color.
it, right? That's what I was about to
It has
say.
nothing to do with color.
None at
Somebody
all.
whooping up on your tail has nothing to do with the color that they are. This is about a mindset. This is about a personality. Th- you got certain people who have a propensity towards DV.
Yeah, you do.
Whether it be a trait of their narcissism, whether it be you know something that they experience because they grew up watching it happened in their own home. Exactly, it's not about color, it is about power.
It is.
It is about power. It took me a long time when I was younger to acknowledge that if you gotta go fighting with somebody, because I used to be in those fighting relationships when I was a girl, when I was young. And I'm telling you right now, when it gets to the point where you got to lift your hands up, you shouldn't be there. I feel the same way when it comes to and privacy is so very much so these days. Exactly, Kat. An addiction to control, an addiction to power. Like when it gets to the point where you got to go through your person's cell phone.
Yeah, that's
Like I don't even do that. I don't keep, locks and stuff like that. I was never one to keep locks and stuff like that on my phone. But even if I did, I would always tell my significant other because in the case of an emergency, you might need to get in there to get some information. So here you go.
right.
Because I don't have anything to hide, right? But
Yeah.
I've always said this to the women that I know. The second that you feel as though you need to start going through that person's phone, you need to leave that person alone
Right.
because you don't trust them. It doesn't matter what your reasons are. It doesn't even matter what's in there. It doesn't matter what you find. Like it
And
and
in the
yep,
in the words of the great Sugar Free, I've never hit a woman, but I smacked. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
you a
I,
mess.
and I'm not going. I was going to say something, and I'll say it, but I'm not going to say the names. Right? I knew someone. I'll just go as far as this, who was married to one of the Temptations. Right? Jag.
Hmm.
I ain't gonna even say who it is, but the reputation of the one. And the Temptations, they done changed many different members. Y'all know, right? So this person was married to one of the Temptations, and I was just like, this person was like, yeah, there was some DV in the situation, and I was like, oh, weesh, I'm young, so I'm, like, dang, really? But then and this is me being a man, I'm like, she's probably lying. Not like I didn't say it right away. I just was like, But then I met someone who was like, they're a studio musician. They was like, yo, oh yeah, this person admitted, yeah, they like, yeah, I'll smack a beat and laughing in the studio about like this is what. So I just go back to say it is a power thing, and this is they were married. This is years ago, so they there were different rules. I think this was even before the OJ stuff, right? Because OJ changed the game on California, how they do the DV stuff. They don't play, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, he was like laughing, bragging out. Yeah, right? I was like, wow, y'all thought I Turner was a something, but any instance of DV is not good. Even intimate partner, they call it intimate partner violence, and when it comes to like the other way around, where you got a situation where a woman will call the authorities on a man just to get him into a legal situation, and it's not true, because there's a lot of situations like that where the woman take advantage of the legal justice system and knowing that the cops will side with them versus the man. Fortunately, there's brothers who, you know, almost they lives are saved because of video evidence and stuff like that. The woman did the stuff to herself and smacked herself up, and so, you know, it goes both ways. But I was going to bring up that video just to kind of show people this is the propaganda they're pushing too. You know, interracial relationship, there's going to be violence, and if you're black, you're likely going to be the victim. Now, that is true. There is a power dynamic. Don't get it twisted. If you are a white male and you marry a black woman, I mean, she could still put you through the ringer and do, you know, whatever. But there still is a power dynamic, and it goes the other way around too. White woman, black man, there's still a power dynamic, and usually the person of color is not on the receiving end of that power. It's always the losing end.
Look at the Caucasian OnlyFans girl who killed, who unalived her boyfriend.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That trial, I think, isn't she still?
No. She got convicted.
Yeah, she did get convicted. Okay, yeah. Because I couldn't remember the last time I saw it. I know she was going to court, and then I just, honestly, that whole situation pissed me off because he was sitting there joking around with it.
Yeah, he didn't take it serious.
He didn't take it seriously at all.
Nah, and she ended up, I think, you know, shanking him up, which is that's a horrible way to go.
Yeah, but the thing that tripped me out is the way that they kept trying because he was a big black man.
Yeah, the police were involved, and they got called up, and yeah, it was they made it seem as if he was the aggressor. It was weird.
There was video evidence of it,
and he didn't do nothing. He didn't touch her. He didn't do nothing.
It was video evidence of it, and it's just, but that goes to show you, it's just, humanity has to do better. But yeah, guys, we're gonna keep on with this. We're gonna, because this whole situation, I'm telling you, for whatever reason, when it comes to both cases, I feel like there's a larger network operating around both of these situations. I just do. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that, this is clear. I'm speculating, but there's more to this situation. The simple fact that he had a bunch of friends and that he had a relationship and that he was able to move people around and get people to do this and get people to do that, in an African country, like hella far away from home, and you bring this girl all the way out here, and you're fist fighting, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're messing with other women. Like, why are you running off messing with other women while you're getting engaged to this one and you're still not divorced from your wife?
Yeah.
It's just too much.
Yeah, like I
It's
said,
just too much.
He was considered a master of the universe. So these masters of the universe, guess what? They got all the money coming in. They're having good times. They got they got all the women, or as many women as they want. They got a rotation, right? They're not quick to settle. They're good. They're doing excellent. And then if they are going to settle, then it's like, whoa, or not settle. Let's just say if they get with, and we don't know what type of relationship, because there's many, like, see, that's why I say I didn't want to go to the dark side of this conversation when we start talking about the different types of relationships. We don't know what type of, like, if they're one-on-one vanilla relationship, I don't know if she's like, like, well, I want us to be exclusive, but he's like, well, no, you're gonna be the main, but I'm gonna have this and that, and you're gonna do stuff to her and him, and like we don't know the dynamics. That's what I was saying. I didn't want to get into that, but that's where the DV probably came in, where it was the expectation. She probably's like, yeah, I want to be exclusive, and he like, nah, you got to get over here, and you got to do like what will Jennifer, I mean Gina Hun, and what Diddy had old girl, what's the girl he was dating?
Freaking off.
Right. Yeah.
Well, apparently that's what he wanted her to do, and she wasn't down, and that's why they was fighting.
Right.
But my thing is how didn't you know that he was already on that kind of time? Why are you wearing an engagement ring? Why are y'all posing and smiling for the pictures? Like, I'm sorry, I just don't think that this is. I think that there's more to this situation.
Yeah, there is,
and for someone to be but for someone to be a SEX worker, you should not be that easily fooled.
Not at all.
Not with the kind of men you've been around. You've been around in music videos. You've been around in clubs. You know how these kinds of dudes operate. So I just can't give she was probably hoping and she was probably, no, you know better.
Well, we don't know, but we'll look deeper into it, because it could have been on both ends. He could have been like outraged that he found out she was on the 304 side of the game.
That's how he met her.
I think he knew what the game was. And like you said, she probably was expecting exclusivity, and he was like, you know the game.
I don't know what she expected, but I'm telling you right now, for it to end up with her hanging in a closet with a belt around her neck, there's just more. There's more. I mean, he could have been lying to her, Ms. Zen. Maybe she could have been lying to him. Who knows? Maybe they were lying to each other. Maybe there were unrealistic expectations. Maybe this is quid pro quo gone wrong. Maybe he promised to pay her a certain amount of money, and maybe she was like, no, you ain't shorting me.
You right.
Like, that's a whole nother aspect to this that we haven't even taken into consideration.
You right.
Considering all of the lack of integrity around every other aspect of their relationship, maybe he was supposed to be paying her X amount of dollars. He got the ring, and she's like, yeah, this is what I need, and because their whole relationship, like I said, for so much of their relationship to be on just her social media, and for him to have posted nothing about her on his. Nothing. Maybe.
This is a good question. Kat said, how did the staff know to find her in the closet? How did the staff know to even go in the room? Was some supposed to be something with a charger, but
she asked for a charger. They were supposed to bring her a charger. They said they heard her struggling. Maybe they heard her. Was she loud enough to be? I don't know. I have no idea. What I do know is
they said the lights were off. They said the lights were off. I mean, yeah. We just got to do a deeper dive and find out more. But I'm just.
For all we know, he brought her halfway around the world and shorted her and was like, shorty, look, you got this ring. I paid for everything. And she like, no, you supposed to be giving me this bread. They could have been fighting over money.
John was like, nope, Dubai is up the street. You want some more money? You can go to Dubai. Bye-bye. Doo-doo. Bye.
I'm about to... Did you say... Oh, goodness. I can't.
I'm just saying.
I can't. What I'm saying is that's a possibility. Sometimes it be as simple as that. I don't know. There's something wrong here. And for this place to be as exclusive as it is, I cannot imagine why it's taking so long for them to find the hotel footage from the surveillance cameras. Like, Well, here we are. We're going to be keeping up with all of this, and we're going to be keeping the conversation open with you guys. Please, for those replay gang, don't forget to hit the like and, share your thoughts with us in the comments. We would really like to hear what other people may or may not be thinking, but we're going to be following this. It's just so much young life just wasted.
Yeah.
A young child and a young woman.
Yeah.
Lured in.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Same pattern, 2 different cases. It's the same story. There's some similarities, y'all. I mean, this is very, very unfortunate. I'll just say it like that. Very, very unfortunate.
Very much so. I couldn't agree more. It's sad. It really is. It's just sad. And to anyone who is celebrating their birthday, happy birthday weekend to you.
All right.
And it's a Sabbath for some already, and Sabbath is coming for others. So happy Sabbath to those who, observe. And yeah, man, don't believe the hype, and don't be looking at these people out here thinking that, just because you see expensive cars and champagne and all of these things, like, because essentially this is what these 2 young ladies died over. Things.
Material things.
Things.
Things are just things. They're just things. You really should be looking at the real jewels, the spiritual insight. Like, we're in a new dimension. All this spiritual stuff, this 3D stuff. We're on that 4D time right now, y'all. So it's very important that you affirm yourself. Number one, that's why the ancients say, know who you are, know thyself, know who you are, so that you affirm yourself, and you got everything you need, and that within your your hearts of hearts, you got everything you need. You don't need anything outside of yourself. So you ain't got to trip. When you get that mindset, you ain't got to trip on the material things, like I need this and I need that, and I got to go get this type of job, and I got to get this type of. No, you got everything you need with you right now. So don't trip off of the spiritual stuff. I mean, off the material stuff. You should really focus on the spiritual and get them jewels that you need to, that you can, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not harvest, but it's within, basically, where, you can't spend that nowhere. You can't take that nowhere. Like, you could take money and it could be splurged and spent. But good character, you can't spend that or splurge that, but it definitely could be utilized. Y'all feel me? There's a lot of stuff that we really need to just be on instead of tripping on all this material stuff. And that's where, I hate to say it, the 2 unfortunate souls who are part of the system, the situation, they fell into that trick bag, and it ends in tragedy. Both cases ends in tragedy.
Yeah. All for a bunch of stuff.
Resorts and trips and BBLs and cars and helicopter rides, and I'm good.
Hey,
what Lil Dap was that? Little Dap, or wait, did Little Dap say that from Group Home? And I'm getting back in my hip hop bag, because I'm finna start listening to my old school golden era hip hop rhymes. Man, I love those albums from Group Home, Lost Boys. You know my hip hop stuff, and that's East Coast, y'all. Yeah, I was a West Coast dude listening to all kind of East Coast stuff, right? But I think it was Little Dap that said that on that one song, Suspended in Time. Shout out to them, Group Home, Primo,
De La Soul.
No,
Tribe Called Quest. No, somebody else is calling out
Oh, you talking about
in the
okay?
chat.
No, I'm specifically talking about that era with,
Yeah.
let's say 94 to about 96. That was a hella era. I wouldn't say golden era, but that I consider that a golden
That
era.
was a great time in hip hop.
Group Home had that album. One song, Suspended in Time. I think Lil Dap said it. I think it was Lil Dap. I think about my soul. Because everything, what'd he say? Yo, son, I think about my soul. I think about my soul because this shell is just a frame, only used for money, hustling, and playing the game. Bars. Yo, son, I think about my soul because this shell is just a frame, only used for money, hustling, and playing the game. Bars.
You're having a real nostalgic hip hop moment. I love it when I have those. Hip hop was always meant to be so much more. It really was. It was meant to enlighten us. It was meant to get us to use our minds. And I just hate the fact that our world has, people don't think anymore. We don't use our minds anymore. We don't open up our hearts. We don't. Rest in peace to both of these young ladies. Well, on that note, I'm Jaguar Wright, Wolfgang Amadeus, and salute to everyone over on Rumble, Replay Gang everywhere. Don't forget to like, hype, do all of that good stuff. We'll see you soon. You all good?
Yeah.
Well, we're out of here. Peace.